Last but not least is a book sculpture, and specifically a bird. This project involves cutting and folding pages to form a shape, and this is a simple shape, but again, as with the other projects, there are more sophisticated versions that you can tackle, but this will give you the basic idea. Here's what you'll need. An old paperback book, it's okay if it's falling apart, a ruler, an X-Acto knife, a pencil, a piece of thin cardboard, something the weight of a cereal box will work, and you'll need a piece that is 4 by 6 inches. Some tacky glue, preferably something that dries quickly, or you can use a hot glue gun, a hole punch, or a really thick needle, anything that will make a small hole through the cardboard, and a piece of string to hang it. So the first thing we're going to do is, if your cover isn't already fallen off, remove the cover of your book, and then you're going to count 25 pages and separate those by slicing right down the binding, and I've already done that with this. So this was attached and I sliced right down the side. So I've got 25 pages all bound together here. First we'll make the wings of the bird. So you'll measure 2 1/4 inches out from the spine. Mark that. And then 2 1/4 inches down the side. And then I'm going to draw lines so I can cut. Right along those marks. Okay. So then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and cut straight through along the lines. And then I may or may not have gone all the way through. A little bit there, so I can use my knife again and keep cutting until I get to the end, or if you want to use scissors, you can do it this way also. If you've got a good pair of scissors, this almost works better. The idea is to have a perfectly square little bound book when you are done. So here's our first wing. We'll need 2 of these. So I'm going to go down to the next one and do the same thing, and I'm just going to use this as my guide. And I'll cut this way again. Up. Looks like quite a few of them got through, so I'm going to cut the rest with my scissors. Get that last little bit there in the corner. Okay, so here are my 2 wings. So starting with one of the corners, I'm going to fold it up diagonally and make a crease right along the line, and then keep doing that in the same direction for each page until you get all the way through both wings. So you'll continue on to finish this one and then go on to that one. Once you have folded over each of the pages diagonally on both the books, you'll end up with 2 triangular shaped wings. So we'll set those aside for the moment, and we're going to make the body. So we need our cardboard and a ruler, and it's actually not too hard to draw this freehand, but if you want a little bit more to go on, you can try this. So let's draw a circle in the center of our cardboard that's about 3 inches across in the middle. So to do that, I'm just going to measure out, make a mark here and a mark here and one in the center at 1.5, so I know where the center is, and then do the same thing in this direction, set the 1.5 mark right in the middle. So I've got a mark there and a mark there, so it's 1 and 3 and 1 and 3. That gives me something to make my circle with, so I'm going to just draw a circle using those lines as my guide. Doesn't have to be perfect. This will work. Then I'm going to make 2 triangles, one on each side of the circle. The first one, I'm going to start on the edge where the tail will be, and I'm going to just start at the corner here, draw a line this way, then I'm going to overlap it a bit this way, and then back up to the corner. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to tilt it a little bit more so the beak ends up in this corner. So I'm going to start at the outside. I'm going to draw my first line this way, and then my second line, and then my third line will go up this way. So we're going to use this as our guide to draw the body of the bird. And this is how I will do it. This will be my beak. I want a little bit of a head, so I'm going to go up a little bit, but then I'm going to come back down and go up for the tail. And I'm going to follow this line all the way down and around, come up a little bit for the beak there, and then draw the beak in the corner. So you can kind of see where my outline is. And then I'm going to cut this out. So I like a little bit of swoop at the tail. So I had it swoop up a little bit and then come around to the top and then the head. And you can always make little adjustments as we go once it's cut out. But this is a good basic bird shape for what we're doing. So there's my bird. If you don't like this hump at the top, you can cut it straight across, but I think I like the way this looks, so I'm going to leave that there. And the idea is that we're going to glue each of these wings on to the sides, so they're going to stick up a little bit above and below. But first we want to cover our cardboard, so I need 2 full-size sheets of pages. So I'm going to use my bird to trace the covering on the pages. So you just trace around this, and then you'll cut this out, and this is what we're going to use to cover our cardboard. And if you're very particular about how it looks, you can have the text going in the other direction if you have big enough pages to work with, or if you just wanted pages that have some graphics on it, or you want to go with a solid color paper. I think this looks pretty interesting with the book pages. Okay, so we've got 2, we've got 3 actually, we've got a spare, 1 for each side. So we're going to put some glue, just a little bit glue this one side on. Get that lined up. So we don't want the cardboard to show. We can go back and trim if it's not perfect, which it's not. So I'm just going to line it up on the top here. We can trim off the bottom. Oops, spread that out so it lays flat. Then we'll do the same thing on this side. A little bit of glue. Line that up so it meets at the top as much as possible. And I'm going to trim the bottom here a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good on both sides at the top. Let's put a little bit more glue on the beak here. Make sure that sticks. Okay, then I'm going to do a little trimming at the bottom here because I don't want my cardboard to show. Okay, and there we are. Put a little bit more on the tail so it will stick. All right, so now we've got our body and our wings. Then before we go any further, I am going to draw a little bit of an eye on here. You can go back over it with something darker, like a marker, colored pencil, whatever you choose. But it's easier to do when it's completely flat before the wings go on. So there we have that. Now we have to assemble the pieces. So I'll spread out one of the wings this way, and I'm going to put some glue on the inside of this flap so it will hold firmly, and squeeze that. So these two end flaps I'm going to glue to one side. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue and run it along the edges, and then I'm going to kind of eyeball it where I think it should go. And this is going to stick up a little bit, so I probably shouldn't put so much glue in the corners here. Just going to wipe a little bit of that off. Okay. Oops, it's going to go this way. So the pointy end goes toward the head. So I'm just giving it my best shot here as to where it should go. That looks pretty good. Make sure I tamp it down. All right, so then we have one side on. We're going to do the same thing to the other side and make sure that they meet at the top and bottom. So I'm going to put some glue on this flap to hold it in place. Squeeze that tight, but not too tight. Then put some glue. This time I will not go all the way out to the tip of the wing. I'm going to add that glue a little bit later. So I do want those two to stick from both sides, but I'm going to line it up this way and this way, and then it just falls into the right spot on the pointy end. So once this is firmly attached, I will go back and put a little bit of glue on those tips. Gives it a little bit more of a firm holding. Okay. So there we have it, your 3D bird. And then the very last thing we'll do is punch a little hole in the top so we can hang it up. It doesn't sit very well by itself, so hanging it is probably the best bet. And I'm just going to basically eyeball that and put it right through the cardboard, but not too close to the edge. And as I said, you can use a really strong needle. That will work as well. You'll take your string. This is a short piece. If you want it to be longer, of course, you'll need a longer piece of string. And you'll hang it up that way. That's a beautiful piece of folded book sculpture. Here's my original. Here's the one we just made. I can picture these with ribbon or a piece of holly sprig in its beak if you wanted to use it for Christmas. You can use different colors and use the same technique. It's ready to hang.